All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Expanded View, episode 10, today on September 28th, 2020. Thank you so much for being here. I'm your co-host, Laura Canfield, along with
Kimberly Crow.
So thank you so much for being here, everyone. And I wonder what we're going to talk about today.
We have a full moon coming up before we're on here the next time. We have that.
Yeah. Nothing on Thursday, right?
Yeah, on Thursday.
Yep. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about, that, about what we should do to take advantage of the full moon, right? As well as other stuff.
Yeah, what are you releasing? It's like it's time to harvest whatever those seeds were. Doesn't seem like it's been that long since we talked about the new moon. Your intentions were of starting, and it's like it's already here. I think it's because everybody keeps wishing 2020 away.
Yeah.
It's like, so now it's like, okay, buy the Christmas presents. Let's get it over with.
Yeah, let's just get this over with. It's like, I'm done. I'm done with this year. Let's move on.
Wrap the present, throw it out to the people. Let's get it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, I wanted to talk a little bit about patience, right? With what is, as well as, patience as well as perseverance, Yes, it's great to have patience, right? But it's also, you still have to persevere in your life to create, right? So Finding that balance between the patience and the allowing and the persevering and the doing, right?
Surrender sometimes has a bad label, but all that means is that you sit back and you let it go, and you let what is be, you let what is come in and be. And in that time is that moment of patience that we quit pushing. The energy we're in this right now, we're in the Pisces moon before we go into that full moon on Thursday. And the Pisces energy is that let's just dissolve it and go on. It's like, why be in the struggle? Let's just dissolve it and we'll move on out of this. So we're in that energy right now. And it can be a little brain foggy, but also, what do you call that? Esoteric-y, right? Right. When you're in those days of the energy. And then that full moon is Aries, which is action. And it's in Libra, which is its opposite polarity. So it's like action of the balance. It's that energy of what is going to create the action that will bring balance to you. And what are your dreams? What were the dreams that when it was 2019 and this year was coming and you had these dreams, and then all of a sudden, the shift hit the fan and everybody went, oh no, but the truth is that timeline is still there. And whatever that is, it's there for you. And it's a time to, you can organize that, look at that, and there's no reason not to move forth with whatever that was for you, the patience of it. And then what's the next step?
Yeah. I mean, and for those of us who can't remember last year, let alone yesterday.
Oh, yeah, exactly. What we thought at the end of the year. Yeah.
I don't remember last year, let alone yesterday. But it is about, and we talk about this all the time, but it really is key to creation. Key to creation is knowing what you want, knowing what your desires are. And there's no judgment. Whatever your desires are, it's fine. You just have to know what they are, right? And are you in alignment with them? Are you congruent with them, right? So I might want, a house in the country. I do. But what do I not want about it? Because obviously I don't have it yet, right? So it's like there's a reason why I don't have it yet, right? So it's like, all right, I definitely want a house in the country. I don't have it yet. Why not? And because I haven't found the right one yet. And so have I made it clear to myself what exactly it is that I want?
Right. Yesterday I talked to a client of mine that she did some work with me years ago. And she said to me, I just want to say this to you. When I was looking for the ideal job, you kept telling me it didn't exist yet, that it was out there in front of you, but it did not exist yet. And she said, you told me that 2 or 3 times. And she said, I kept applying for these jobs everything fell through, and I couldn't understand why I wasn't being picked. And every time I would talk, I don't remember what I say to people. And
Yeah.
she said, because I tap into their soul and their spirit, and that's who's answering, not me. It's the part of them that already knows the answer. And she said, you tell me that every time. And she said, and I think, what do I need to create it? And she said, this program I'm in right now didn't exist then. All those times I was asking you, this program had not been created yet, that she got the job, her ideal job. It's like totally fulfilling her, rewarding, it's what it was like everything in her life had built up to be in this position right now. It's like writing grants and helping people. She's working at a college and helping people step into what they're here to do.
Nice.
So yeah. And I was like, yeah, sometimes when we're in that thing, it doesn't exist yet. It's not been created. We're kind of in that time period again of the 0 point. And then that's when we do the desire, we send it out to what will be created. And then the action that goes into that. And then it's the next, it's that kind of energy.
And sometimes, it is a divine timing thing, because like I had been asking for a puppy for a few years, right? And then when Neo finally did show up, it was like, it just happened just like that. And it's like out of the blue, and like, it just like, it happened magically. And I'm like, oh my God, he came in response to something I had said I wanted to spirit. And it took a few months, because I think I asked specifically like in May, and then he was born in June, and then we got him in November, right? So it's like I asked, he had to get born. He wasn't born yet, right? He didn't exist yet, and then he was born, and then he had to get lost, and then we found him, and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, especially if they've been one of your loved ones before and they're coming back in, they may be waiting for you to re-embody. My cat, Alice, I got her at the same Humane Society as the cat I had before. Well, I'd been gone from here, and then my dog transitioned while he was at my parents, and then it's like I thought I was going to be traveling all over the place this year, so I didn't want a dog because cats are so much more independent when you're traveling. And I was redoing the house, redoing hardwood floors, and I was like, I can't get an animal in here yet. And then I started stopping at the Humane Society, and I would see these cats online, but I wanted to meet them. I didn't want to just pick one, I wanted to meet it. And I'd go out there, and the cat that I wanted would be gone. Every time I'd call them, they'd say yes. And then I'd get there. Oh, somebody adopted it online, and we didn't know they'd already put it in the application for this cat. Kept happening. She was there, and I kept looking at her, and she wasn't for adoption because she had been spayed and she was having a hard time with her transition. So she was being real timid and all of this stuff. But I kept going in and standing and looking at her, and she wouldn't come to me. And I started asking about her, and I kept going back in for these other cats. And then finally, one day they were like, she's the sweetest cat in the whole world. We love her so much.
Yeah.
And she was ready to come home with me. Her name was Ariel. And she wouldn't answer to me. Here, I didn't have any furniture in the house. I was redoing everything. I needed to get the stuff on the hardwood floors and all that. She hid in the closet for 3 days. I got her out. And when she wouldn't come to me, and I accidentally called her Alice. And when I did, she come running and jumped up in my lap. Her name wasn't Ariel. Whoever had been, and it was, she was supposedly surrendered, and it was supposedly her name. But she was so happy. She was like, finally, somebody knows who I am. And
Alice.
then,
wow.
Yeah. And then when one day she was outside, and I saw a twitch in her tail, and my cat before her, that when I lived here, that I got from the same Humane Society, her name was Pearl. And I called her Pearl, and she froze, and she looked at me, and I saw Pearl, like her transmute into her. And I knew that I was like, oh, she's Pearl. She's came back. And Pearl was a great white hunter, and Alice is much sweeter in her disposition. And that's what, you know, Pearl's obsession with birds and her fixation of birds is why she left this lifetime, was because she wasn't paying attention, and the school bus got her when it did a turn. And she was in my yard, but the school bus came over. And so anyway, but so sometimes it's the divine timing for her to come back, to be here. And, you know, that family that had her surrendered her so she could come back and be with me. So you just never know what all of that's about in the divine timing of everything. And when I'm really after her, I call her Alice Pearl. I'm like, what a Southern name. It's like, Alice Pearl, you get back up here. Get away from the road. Don't you chase those birds.
Oh my goodness. All this time, Neo has been barking and wanting to play. And I'm like, I can't play right now, Neo. This is not the time.
I know. She's being real, like she's right here beside me and she keeps hitting at my hand. And lately she's been grabbing these while I'm on the computer. She's like, oh, that looks like something I should play with.
So they know we're talking about them, right?
They do. They know we're talking about them. And so sometimes it is that. It's like spirit aligning everything. And it's about us waiting, because the outcome would be, you know, I want it to be the path of grace and ease now. I'm not into kicking doors in anymore. I've been resilient and kicked doors in a lot in life. And there is a time to kick the doors in sometimes. Yeah. And then there's a time to go with the path of grace and ease.
I definitely like ease. I choose
I'm all
ease.
into the path of grace and ease right now.
Yeah.
And that is something to pay attention to when you are trying to manifest. And if it is a struggle, then what aspect of you is trying to manifest that? Is it an aspect that is really no longer beneficial to you? You know, and then it's like, and that's when I do like inner dialogue with those parts to see what it's really about. And sometimes when you go into that cohesive energy yourself, because it may be a part that's ready to heal. And when that happens, the one of you that's in resistance, when it is heard and it, you know, dissipates that energy and then moves in to balance with the rest of your aspects, then the energy moves forth. So that's what I do. If it's not coming in, it's like, what is the part that's not manifesting? You know, what's got the heels in and what's holding back? What's that?
What's the part of me that's not being acknowledged?
Is it a decision from fear? Yeah. Is it a fear? Yeah. Where's it? What's not being acknowledged? Or is someone making a decision from fear instead of from, you know, passion, currency, flowing that divine grace?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when, you know, you're also possibly in your head a lot, you know, thinking, trying to figure it out. So it's like, you know, come back to your heart space, come back to center, come back to, you know, reflection, you know,
right.
And just look at what is happening. What is this, you know, and ask, is this even mine? This thought, this energy, this feeling, is this even mine? It may not be. Right. And so he settled down now. And so, you know, don't judge yourself for not creating, for not moving forward, for not persevering or anything like that, right? Don't judge yourself and say, instead say, okay, what part of me, what shadow part of me it might be, needs some attention right now, needs some love right now, needs some acceptance right now, needs some allowance right now. And sometimes you do have to allow that part of you that is not being acknowledged, being heard, to just be with it, you know, until it will allow itself to move forward naturally, right? That does not mean for weeks and months and years, but sometimes it can just be a few days or hours even, you know?
Right.
But not weeks, months, or years.
Yeah, to get stuck in the indecision. Because sometimes when we're not getting an answer, it's because there is no answer for what that is we're trying to get the answer for. And then if we just stay in it, it's like, no, that wasn't, you know, that's not the divine flow. It's like, that's why you're not getting an answer about it. It's not the divine flow. And then, so do something else. What else can you do? And then when you go into action and then your mind's not pressing on that, then, you know, there's an opportunity for a shift to come in and you may be totally handed something different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too. It's like, if you're like constantly focusing on one thing and you're not getting any answer, you're not getting any movement, you're not getting any energy in it, put your focus somewhere else. And as soon as you do that, you know, as soon as that energy is being released from what you were focusing on, it starts to shift. You might get that insight, you might get that input, you might get that answer that you've been looking for, but not if you're constantly, it's kind of like, when you're like, you have something, some word on the tip of your tongue, you just can't get it, or a name, that you're just remembering, you just can't get it. As soon as you focus on something else, it'll come to you. It's like, oh yeah, that's what it was.
Right, because it's the same part of the brain that is doing that, and then it blocks itself. Yeah. And and then when you do that, when you step back, go do something that's joyous. Even if it's just a walk outside, go pet your dog.
Speaking of doing something joyous, look what I did.
Oh, that's pretty. Did you bling that up yourself?
I did. It's a bookmark that is, with diamond art painting.
Yeah. I've seen those and wondered what that is. Yeah.
It's not very creative, I'll be honest, right? But it's like, yeah, you just put it on there, and but it makes me feel good, and I have a new bookmark, I
blinged it all up. That looks fun.
but yeah, exactly, right? It's fun, it's joyful, it's light. It got my energy moving from where I might have been to just playing, and sometimes we just need to play, and then after that, it's like, oh, that was fun. That I feel good. Then that energy's been it's like loosened up a little bit, and then something else can move in, right? And so I know, that happens a lot with me, because I get stuck. It's like, oh, I really want to create this. And it's like, thinking, finalizing, figuring out all that stuff, and then it's like, I don't know if I want to do it. So then it's like, I push it aside, right? Then that doubt comes in, or that, I'm not sure, and then that's why it's like, you got to do something totally different.
Right.
And then
try something different. Yeah.
Yeah. Then something else will come in. And now it's like, oh yeah, that might be fun. So it's like, okay, cool. So it didn't take long, right? It was an hour. Okay, it was an hour of my time. It's fine, right? But are you willing to give yourself an hour of free time, of play?
Mm-hmm. Let the brain reset. Yeah.
Not meditating, not doing, I don't know, like some people, they go to meditation as an escape, but it's an escape, but it's also, I'm doing this because it's going to do something. It's like, no, just be in it. Just allow it, So just do something that's fun and light and light-filled for you, right? No agenda. No agenda except, I'm just going to let go, because this is totally mindless. I mean, there were no aspects of my mind working really when I was doing this, right? Totally mindless. I didn't have to focus at all, right? So it got rid of that mental energy that I was so focused on, because I have a lot of mental energy. It was able to release some of that. So, as I was using my fingers and stuff, right? To get the energy moving in some way,
Yeah.
So physically, I like to go for a WALK. That usually helps, the fresh air, the sunshine, just, moving my energy, moving my body makes a big difference. But, and also this, something creative that is not that creative, but still fun and easy.
Right.
So find that for yourself. Find out what that is for you. Sometimes it might be, I might play bubbles with, blow bubbles for Neo, and, just for a few minutes, and that changes the energy. Again, it's always about maintaining
my magic bubble wand right here.
Exactly, right? But it's about changing the energy and raising your vibration and the vibration of the space. That's it's like it's a constant thing.
Change. I love these. The chimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can just do something like that if I'm stressed, and just take the chimes, and it like lifts all that. It changes that part of your brain. Today I was listening to something, and it was talking about that when birds sing, they're not in fear or danger.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're singing, so there's nothing around them, they're not in distress, they're singing. Right. And so there's a listening to birds can reset your brain, because they're singing that song of that, and they're not in distress then.
Yeah.
And so when you resonate with something cohesive that's not in that, and I thought, well, these don't sound like birds, but chimes do that to me, and flute music, stuff like that.
I love flute music. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and it's something even as simple as, like, I have these angel tuning forks, just ringing these in your space will clear the energy.
It resets that part in the brain. Yeah,
I love it. I use this for all of my, for my healing calls and stuff. It's great. But it's like, we're in charge of that. We're in charge of our space. We're in charge of our energy. We are in charge of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions as well. sometimes doesn't feel like it, right? But we are. So what can you do to change the vibration of your space? Change your energy vibration, change your mental energy, change your emotional energy. What can you do? Right? And this is a question for everybody to really look at and think about. What works for you? And, you know, sometimes we have to remind ourselves, okay, nothing's working. All right, I'm going to go do this, right? I'm going to
So
go
when
do
it's time
this
to walk
for a
away
little while.
from it.
Yeah. I can't use that word that loud.
Yeah, I know. After I said it, I thought, oh, we didn't hear me.
No. Right? So it's something. And for some of us, it's also listening to really nice music. You know, whatever. I mean, I love to listen to inspirational music, devotional music. You know, that'll help me as well. Tibetan singing bowls, crystal bowls. I love sound in that way. I don't like rock music per se. You know, that's not quite the energy that I'm looking for here. But you know,
can shake up stuff too, though. I mean, you can, you know, that can like get you. You ever got in the car and there's something like that going on, and then you're just like singing away, and then it's like there's a whole different energy that's going on. Then
that's for sure.
Yeah. Right. I can't handle the rap. I can't do it at all. It's not cohesive with my field in the least little bit, and it's like it feels, you know, like that to me. Like it feels angry to me, and it may not. It may feel expressive to others, but
which is weird. I mean,
I can't really do.
I don't like rap, but I like one or two songs by Eminem, you know, and he's a rapper, right? I mean, there's only two songs I think that I like, but you know, but he's a rapper, but there's something about those songs or those words, you know, the lyrics that get me, you know, and also the beat, blah, 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 whatever. But the thing is, it's like, do something, whatever it is for you. Sometimes it's, you know, the best thing you can do for yourself is take a shower.
Yeah, I was thinking that because I started saying, you know what I do sometimes? I go wash dishes.
And that too. Yeah.
You know, absolutely. I'll stand at the window and it's like there's something and you'll get up and then I go in there and do something and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to, you know, hand wash these dishes out. Because usually I kind of do that as I go since it's just me anyway. But I may have a pile sometimes and instead of using my dishwasher, there's something about washing dishes.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah.
Because I saw a meme the other day that does anybody still do this? And it's like, well, yeah, because it's like there's something about it.
And if I'm cold, you know, then washing dishes by hand is really great because I get warm, right? And so a lot of times in the past, it doesn't happen as much anymore, but in the past when I used to do a lot of energy, like clearing work on myself, I used to be clearing a lot of energy within myself. I used to get really cold a lot, right? Now so that was like washing dishes would be great. I get to wash the dishes in hot water and feels good, you know. It doesn't happen as much anymore now, you know. But that's a great little break, you know, and it's like a reset, like we were talking about, you know, it's a simple little reset.
Right. My kitchen window is like it's 2 stories because the back of the house has got a basement. So it's a down and out, you know, it's dropped in the back, you know, that's all open. And a red bud tree volunteered and started growing in front of that window. And I let it, you know, red buds have those heart-shaped leaves.
Okay. Yeah.
And then when they bloom, they have those pretty, you know, pinky violet, you know, blooms on them. They're like the first thing that blooms in the spring. And so anyway, my daughter went, why did you plant a tree like right there in front of the window? I said, I didn't. It volunteered and I just let it be. But I love that tree because the squirrels and the cardinals, they come in, they get those little seed pods because the seeds that hang off the redwood look like peas. You know, there's those kind of flat things like that.
Yeah.
And they're always in it. And they're like right there at the window at me. And I'm like, hi, how are you? You know, when I'm talking to them. Because
they keep you entertained when you're doing the dishes.
There's been a time or two that I thought, I should try to get a long thing and put a feeder up there so that they can, you know, that they'll be up there and I can watch them. But it's like, I have to interfere with nature. It's like they're taking care of it and they're finding it on their own.
Yeah.
And they'll be right at the window, you know, like eye level with me. And I love that tree being there.
What a gift, right? What a gift for you.
I go talk to them and then it's like, how? And, you know, you forget everything because you're like, oh, look at the little squirrel. It's like, hi. And everything else just like goes away.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just going to share like really quickly. I mean, like, you know, I'm not going to go into it, but, you know, you can use crystals, you can use essential oils, flower essences, all that kind of stuff to also change your vibration, raise your vibration, change the energy in of your space as well. Because you have to do both, right? So you don't have to do anything, but it really helps if you do both, right? If you clear the energy in your space and as well as work on maintaining your energy, keeping it up and uplifted. And the more that you can do that, and the more that you can let go of that mental energy, the easier it will be for you to create and manifest. Right?
Yeah, right. When you clear. And that's what this Aries moon is. That's the Aries is the action energy. Right now, Mars is retrograde in Aries, which is Aries is ruled by it, which can be the anger stuff, but it also can be what's internal to go into action. Use the energy in that way instead of, and if something is angering you, triggering you, then go in and do your work. What's that about? If you don't like the way what's happening in the world, then how can you be a solution to it instead of
don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And so this energy is a good, how do you take it forth and move the energy? What would you change if it was your world and you had the magic wand? Then what's your solution? It's like, give me a solution. Don't complain if you don't have the solution. And it's
and then start implementing that solution in your life.
Exactly.
Right? Don't like say, okay, I have a solution, but they have to do it. No, start implementing it in your life. It's about you, right? It's all about you. And what's happening out there is just a reflection of what's happening internally for a lot of people. So just focus on your internal life, internal energy, and you might not be as impacted by what's happening outside as much.
Exactly. It doesn't really affect your world of what's going on with stuff. Yeah.
Not to say that, we're not aware of what's happening out there. We are, but we're also focusing on what we're doing internally, on our spiritual growth, on our, creations and what we're manifesting and how we're serving in the world. And whether that's if you're serving for, your family, your community, or larger, it's all good. But focus on that. Focus on how you are serving. Focus on serving you as well as everybody else.
Right, because it's all service some way in the world, whatever it is that our walk is.
Yeah, every little bit that you can do, even if, like, let's say you're just sending out blessings of love and light to the world. Awesome. That's great. Do that every day, but also include yourself. Include yourself, include your loved ones, right? And be willing to receive it. Okay? And that's the thing. It's like, be willing to receive that unconditional love and light. Be willing to receive the blessings. Be willing to receive the peace and whatever else that, you might find that you're missing at the moment. Are you willing to receive it?
That's something that changes my energy sometimes. If I wake up in a fog or feel like, I got run over by a truck during the night or whatever. And if I sit and journal, and the first thing I write at the top of my page is, I'm so blessed. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I say that, it changes the energy. Mm-hmm. If I started, writing blah, 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 then it's like, then I'm in that and I kind of have to work through it. But if I write that at the very top of the page, if I say that every morning, first thing, I'm so blessed. And as I say that, then it shifts the energy. And,
absolutely. And you can say, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I'm so blessed. Any one of those types of phrases would be excellent. That's the first thing you start off with. And even if you don't journal it, say it out loud.
Right.
Say it in your heart.
It's like, good morning, divine being. I'm so blessed. It's like, if you recognize that as yourself and that's who you are and recognize yourself as that, then it shifts something in the field.
Yeah. And if you can say it out loud, awesome. If you can't, say it in your head, say it in your heart space, say it to your body. Okay. And that's important too, saying it to the body.
Right. It opens up that part of the brain that is that, the Buddhic mind, what they call the God mind. It's like it expands within that, in that energy. And then it puts the heart in cohesion with that. And then there's energy like this between the heart and the mind. And when you're in that flow, then everything that you manifest, what you create, is just a whole different thing.
Yeah. So, it's fun. It's fun. And it's like, it can be joyful to create, to manifest. It can be fun to create and manifest if we get out of our head, right? So get out of your head, get out of the expectation, get out of, well, it should be like this. No, there are no shoulds, instead it's like, okay, what do I want? I want this. All right, what would it take? And what energies do I need to be and embody to create that? Right?
Mhm.
So a lot of times, people have always talked about you have to be the energy vibration of what it is that you want, right? So are you embodying those energies? Because unless you're embodying those energies and recognizing them within yourself, energies, qualities, virtues, whatever it is, then there is going to be, or there may be that gap between you wanting it and you receiving it, right?
Yes. I have been doing a lot of meditation, if you want to call it that. It's even before I get out of bed every morning. I'm lining up and connecting to the God mind first before I do anything. And some days I get stuff, and then some days I know the next thing to do. And the other day I didn't get anything. And then I was out doing things in the yard before I got started. It felt like the energy needed to shift. I had this big construction bag full of old tents that I had hoarded and held on to for why, I don't know. It was when I had cleaned out a building and I had put them in it. And I thought, why am I holding on to those? I didn't want to put them in the landfill. And
What
I
are
was
they,
like,
sorry?
tents. They're tents, like camping out tents.
Yeah.
I am not going to sleep on the ground and camp out anymore at this time in my life. I'm not going to do that.
Me neither.
And I thought, I didn't want to put them in the landfill. And I thought, what do you do with these? These things will be here like eons later. What do you do with this? And I had this thought about somebody that has been a client of mine in the past that I have noticed on her Facebook post that she posted a thing about another lady that helps the homeless. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had this thought, and I heard this, you should talk to, so-and-so. It's like, you should contact her. I went on, didn't do it. Next morning I got up. She had Facebook messaged me. This is a client that I had probably not talked to in 6 months. It's not like somebody I talk to all the time. She messaged me and gave me this woman's name, said she's coming into town. She's taking things to the homeless. And I just felt like I was supposed to reach out to you today.
Wow. I love it.
I was thinking about you yesterday. I've got tents, and I think that these tents could help the homeless right now. And that I said, I knew where the encampment is. And I was thinking about, maybe I should go take them and put them out on the, down by the river. Will they find them? Will they know what this is?
Mm.
And so the lady contacted me. She came and picked the tents up. And that's her calling, is that she knows that is like, it's her calling to help,
There you go. Yeah.
And so I gave her a bunch of things that they could use for food to cook for the homeless, like, dried beans, like sacks of dried beans.
Mm-hmm.
I'd stopped at the grocery store, bought an extra bag of apples, and so it's like that. And it shifted everything in my day. And then it was like, then I didn't feel bad about hoarding up the old tents.
They came in handy. They came in handy for somebody.
I kept thinking, why did I not want to throw them away? And it was like, oh yeah, I didn't want them to go into the landfill.
Yeah.
And it's like,
them to be used by somebody,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I kept thinking somebody could use these, or maybe there's Boy Scouts out there. And then I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
So it can be those kinds of things. I went into that, the creation came in, and what the steps were, I didn't do one single thing in the 3D for all of that action to go into place. I had the thought right after I came out of meditation, and within, 24 hours, the tents were gone. And they went somewhere that they could help.
They could be used. Yeah, they were useful. Awesome.
Right.
That's great. Yeah. So I wonder what else is possible. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's when you're in that energy of like, what else is possible?
Yeah.
And then so it was like, okay, this helped her. This is her mission. And I'm glad that it is. And she knows it's her assignment. And I was glad to have the connection to her that I can, give in that way. And I know it goes directly to them.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have those tents anymore. So awesome.
I don't have the tents anymore. I don't have to feel bad for the homeless when I see them and think, oh, I should help them, and I didn't. Now I know how I could help them all of the time.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like,
And it can be that easy,
yes,
right? It can be
when
that
it's all
easy.
aligned, it can be that easy.
Yeah.
So you can use it in your it doesn't have to, it's like, it can be those kinds of things of service to humanity, that
Yeah,
it
for
lines
sure.
up in that way.
Just open up your heart and say, how can I serve? How can I
Mm-hmm.
serve? Show me,
Right.
and it'll show up in some way. So then be willing to, like, it's just funny. Kimberly didn't do anything, but she thought about somebody, and then they contacted her. Like,
She did. I know. It was like, I got up the next morning and she had messaged me. And by that afternoon, the lady she came to my house. All I did was put them in the driveway. She knocked on my door and I gave them to her.
yeah,
And I
easy
was
peasy.
like, oh, wait a minute. There's some coats in my closet. And it's like, I don't even know whose these are, from whenever my daughter lived here, and friends probably left stuff. And I gave her a bunch of men's jackets.
Yeah.
It's like, here, you can have these too. So I got my closets cleaned out too.
Awesome. Decluttering and helping the homeless and helping her do her mission at the same time.
I know. It's like
Win, win,
perfect.
win.
Win, win, win for everybody.
Yeah.
It was like perfect. So that's when you are in alignment and flow.
Yeah, it can happen.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, I love it.
That's how
Yay!
the service happens. It's just everything lines up in that way.
So sometimes you don't have to think about how can I be of service. No. Just, you don't have to. It'll come to you.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even try to do, it was just like that. I was like, I looked at the tents and I'm like, why are they still here? And then I heard this, you should contact blah, blah, blah. And then it was like, why would I contact her? I even asked. And then it's like, oh, because you saw on Facebook that she knows the lady that helps the homeless. And then, and then I didn't do anything. I just walked away from it. And it's like, oh, so it's like that voice, like spirit is telling you, that part of your mind is telling you, why you're looking at her. Why is it that I'm thinking this? Yeah. What is it that can be done with this?
Yeah, and then they came to you and done.
Right.
Awesome.
Done.
Good. All right. So we are at the end of this show for today. So next week, I think we're going to have a guest.
Oh, good.
What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah. So next week, October, whatever that is. I don't know what day that is, but we're going to have a guest on our show.
October 5th.
So stay tuned, right? So stay tuned for that. Again, this Thursday is the full moon, so do your full moon ritual, etc. This week I have on my show, who do I have? Donna Marie Hellisy on Tuesday, Amy Flynn on Wednesday, and Laura Hosford on Thursday. So I'm excited about those shows. And I think I might do a call on Friday, but I haven't figured out what that call is going to be yet. I'll figure that out today. So it's some sort of call on Friday. I don't know what that's going to be. So we'll see. So what's going on for you this week, Kimberly?
What's going on for me is I'm going to be on your show on October the 8th. So I'm already thinking about that. It's like, I probably should have already been thinking about it. I'm still in the end of this process with this group that I'm doing the 30 days embody your alchemy. And I'm really seeing that this is my signature program. And the energy and where they're going with it, it's like incredible. And I'm loving the working in this way with that group and what the energy is with that. And then I've got another program that I'm creating too, launching with moon cycles.
Awesome.
So that's what's going on. All my energy's in that. I don't know if
Awesome.
I've got any other shows. I've done 2 or 3 different those
podcasts.
kind of recordings for different, and I don't even remember who all they were with and what dates that they're supposed to do what. I know there's several of those that are supposed to release sometime this week. So that's what's going on. And my birthday is on the 7th. So I've got that coming up. That's why I knew Monday was the 5th. Okay. Because actually my parents may be in town that day. And I was looking at that and I thought, I might. So if we've got a guest, I may take a break and for that day. I don't know yet. I'll have to talk to my parents and see if they're going to be in town.
Keep me posted.
Right.
Awesome. So, all right. Yeah. Good. Cool. So I'm getting ready to do my membership call in 15 minutes. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching, listening, all that wonderful stuff. And again, be patient and at the same time persevere, right? and do whatever you need to do to change the energy of your space and change your vibration. Upgrade your vibration, uplift your vibration, change that. You have that power, right? And start off your day with saying, I am blessed, I am grateful, I am thankful.
That it can be that simple, and things can change in everything around you.
Exactly. So until next time, thank you, thank you, thank you. May you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always.
Thank you for being the gift to humanity that you are. Bye.
Bye for now, everyone.